brothers and sisters. Namaste. I'll just wait for some people to come on live. I've received questions from some really key people that follow me, and they're reaching out to understand the path to do with children. And I guess in my reality, I'm going to say assumed that more awareness was already there about the path and about the understanding of the manifestation of how that's come about and of what we're here to do. So if you're just coming to that kind of story in reference to children, and you're walking the path and you're saying, like, these messages I've received are like true devoted seekers that are on the path of unity, so devoted, so awake and aware, but it takes this moment, this real strong moment, to come back to the point. What is the point of our lives, of our incarnations, of our ascension process? What is the actual point? What's the point? What is the main point? And it's to embody God in an incarnation of a human. And what is God? It's to experience an unconditional perspective, to then experience a limitless perspective of God. Your perspective as God, looking at all the rest of the perspectives as God, but then being able to place yourself to say, I have one perspective of God, and that over there is a perspective of God. And when you come into this position, that's when you can allow the compassion and the forgiveness for that narrative. Okay? Now take the narrative of someone doing something to you when you're a child. Someone being mean to you. Okay? And you feel alone and vulnerable and not held and not safe. And then times that by another 30 years and you're sat there probably feeling the same in some circumstances, alone, unsafe. When that narrative of that storyline comes up, that's for you to reflect that you no longer agree that a child has to experience that. But that is through you alchemizing your experience of that. Now, if you can reflect back at your childhood to say with another perspective, I learnt from that. I could only see it through my one perspective of a child being let down. And if you can hold yourself and say, what did I learn in that? What did I learn in that moment? Now that I'm looking at a different perspective back. And you could give yourself any perspective you wanted. You could say, I didn't learn anything. It was all awful. It was awful. You could say, I learned a few things. I wish it didn't happen though. You could say, I learnt quite a lot. I still wish it didn't happen. You could say, I learnt, and now I see what could have been different to make it easier for me. You could say, I learnt a lot and I feel compassion to the others around me that didn't have what I perceived that I needed. You could say, I learned a lot and I now realise that the people around me didn't have what was needed to give me that experience of unconditional love because they didn't experience it themselves. You could say, I understand that my experience of that was for me now to realise that everyone was having that same experience of being let down as a child. Now that's you now taking on the responsibility, radical responsibility, of a child healing the world, of a child sitting there and being able to hold the space for the whole world let them down. The whole world, that feeling like the whole world has let me down. And you, in that one moment, are saying, I am able to transmute and alchemize, forgive, perceive, hold compassion and hold space for the whole world that I felt like let me down then. Okay? What we're going to do with this is then put it in the perspective of the narrative of the children. If you can do that, now you are paving the way for that future upon earth to be able to be experienced by all children. By all children. Through your embodiment, you allow your truth to believe that all children, even that narrative of those children, are then able, you believe, you trust, you have faith that they too have the potential, the possibility and the landscape that has been manifested by you doing it. You then permit yourself to trust and believe that they will experience that too. Now, how does this work? One, you've done it. You actually done it. So you are the proof. You are the proof that a child feeling in trauma can be healed from within, from having a different perspective, of realizing that the external world did not have what they needed to feel loved, to be treated as an unconditional being of source. You are doing that. That's your work. But in you doing that, you then provide the perspective out where you are able to see that truth. Now, what does this do for your vibration? You get to experience that truth that you've embodied, but you also help manifest that to actually be the case, to actually be the collective experience, so that the narrative that you're currently uncomfortable with can be laid out step by step. Because if enough people believe that, then it's out there in the quantum, because we're all one and all connected. So say that there's you saying, I have healed my inner trauma as a child, being let down, neglected, abused and vulnerable. By you doing that, then that pain no longer exists. You have alchemized and transmuted it. That energy is then sent out to those children, to all beings that are in that situation, that are in that vibration. You are sending out the vibration that they too will experience it. That's your job. That's the work. You first experiencing it to then know that they can too, that it's a possibility. And then your actual embodiment sends that vibration out to them. They pick it up in the quantum and things shift. The external world will change around you and change around them. So some of the questions that I get asked, how are you preaching love and light and focusing on what's good when that's happening? The path is clear. Whatever you focus on will be your reality. You are maintaining that reality. You're maintaining it. So if you really want that reality to collapse and to change, it's to place your awareness and focus on other higher truths, higher realities, like healing, like forgiveness, like compassion, but neutral. Now the second part of that is, and I make it very clear to people when they ask me, if someone is upset about the narrative, and if someone doesn't enjoy it, if someone doesn't enjoy the narrative, unless you are going to provide a space for someone that is suffering to be able to come to, unless there's actually a place that they can come to heal, what exactly are you offering? Through your anger, through your hate, through your fear, what are you trying to offer to the people that you're trying to help? Are you trying to rescue them from a completely abusive situation to bring them into a better one, where it's still angry, where it's still painful, where they're actually not allowed to heal because you haven't healed yourself? What are we actually saying that we're here to give these children if we're not providing the landscape and the platform for them to come to in pure embrace, where they are told they're God's source? So when I receive these messages to ask me, how are you not focusing on the darkest narratives? It's because my work, light workers' work, is to provide the space for those beings that are ready to heal to come to. Because we don't take someone from an abusive situation and then put them in a situation where everyone's complaining about it and angry about it and bitter. We don't do that to people. We put them in a place where there is complete healing there, where they come and we say, you're not broken. There's nothing sad here. We've realised the truth. Now 3D is for that. It's for placing conditions on until this is something, until this is right, then there's nothing good that can come. But 4D in Ascension is saying, I have to believe in the good for it to come. I have to see the good for it to be there. I have to want to be able to hold the space and provide the space so that when people are ready to heal, there's a space to come. So I hope that that's helped you today. I hope that you can step out of that narrative and realise what your real work here is for. It's for healing yourself, to then know that that's possible, to then send that energy out so that other beings can pick up on it. It's to manifest that reality into being through your vibration. And it's to offer the places for those heroes, those absolute masters to come, because those children don't say, thank you for being angry for me. They don't say that. They say, thank you for realising how I got there. And how I got there was through people hating. How I got there was through people not loving. Thank you for realising that you actually provided the cure to that. You didn't put a plaster and a band-aid over it and said, I'll take you from one hateful situation to the next. You provided the cure. That's what those children are asking as embodied masters. They're saying, make the cure forever so that we never get in this situation again. I hope that that's helped. I hope that meets you. I hope that makes you understand the path is clear. Spiritual path is clear. Reach out for any guidance. I know it's difficult. It feels difficult, but it's not difficult when you've got the resources, the methods, and the wisdom. You need the path to understand it step by step. I love you so much. Thank you for being with me. Namaste.